Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on What's Brewing with Jim and Gigi on this Thursday morning. We are getting closer and closer to the weekend. For all of you snow lovers out there, you might be really excited for the weekend. If you're not a snow lover, you might not be too excited.
Got two camps,
Yeah.
and this could be a significant event. And I want to jump all into it early, so I've been kind of downplaying it a bit the last few days, but I'm kind of turning that corner now where it's like, yep, looks like we're going to get it. Looks like it'll be a high-impact storm with a lot of different things we're going to have to deal with. I'm going to dig into all that, show you everything I'm seeing this morning, time it out for you guys, get you the timing on the snow, the wind, everything else that we're dealing with. Talk about all that in just a little bit.
Okay, great. Well, before we get into all of that, we do have a story out of Kinston this morning. Earlier this week, the Kinston Police Department started rolling out some new equipment, including body cameras, in-car cameras, other safety features to better service their community. So we actually were able to get an inside look and actually see them installing some of these cameras inside some of their patrol vehicles. So our Amarachi Uche was able to speak with Chief Goyette at the Kinston Police Department to learn more about it.
New police vehicles and cameras are hitting Kinston streets, something Chief Keith Goyette says was a long time coming.
Sometimes you put in things for the budget, they get kicked back for different reasons, but finally this year we were able to get those included in there.
Now we're getting an inside look at the new equipment as it gets installed, all thanks to funding from the department's budget. The budget increased to $10.2 million for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, up from $9.4 million the year prior. The increase, mainly in the budget's $1.2 million capital outlay category, has allowed the department to reintroduce in-car cameras to the patrol vehicles, a necessity that Goyette says both the community.
We had city council forums where people would come and say, you know, we want in-car cameras. We would look at social media. People would put in there that they wanted in-car cameras on the police cars.
And officers will benefit from.
It's going to be extremely helpful for us. You know, we're able to actually view those cameras in full time, live time, if need be.
In the units, a dash cam and a backseat camera are being installed. How the cameras work is simple. Once an officer switches on their police lights, the cameras immediately begin recording. The cameras are being installed inside 20 patrol vehicles, including 10 new ones purchased through funding in the budget. Another major addition, every officer gets a new body-worn camera.
There's alarms on their cameras, you know, depending on what types of noises, depending on speed of the vehicle, depending on different triggers.
These upgrades, being meticulously installed by crews day in and day out, are all in order to provide the best protection for not just police, but those in the city.
We understand it's expensive, but we do, you know, we want to protect our citizens, we want to protect our officers, and we want to have the best equipment we can have.
All right, and it sounds like many of the vehicles that they already have, including some of those new ones, have these installed already. They're already out on the roads, but they're looking to finish that all up, complete the whole process by the end of this week.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
They kind of need those now to protect themselves, too. I think they're very important part of that. So much weather to get into.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so many things to dig into. So let's jump right over, get you updated on the storm, the track, and the impacts that we may see. The sunny skies today, but bitter cold temps. The weekend snow wind event really locking in now. By the way, we are in a cold weather advisory this morning, right now, with wind chills dipping, and I'll show you those numbers in a little bit, but we feel like the low to mid-teens outside right now. All right, so the Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch for every bit of real estate in eastern North Carolina, and really the entire state, save I think 2 counties in extreme southwestern North Carolina. So the entire state will be dealing with this, although the most impactful weather will be right here as we get into the weekend. By the time you get north of Richmond, not much up there. South of maybe Charleston, not much down there. It's a Carolina storm, folks. Check it out. Model data, this is Saturday morning. The storm south of us Friday. Friday's quiet. Friday night, a few snow showers maybe. A lot of the data I dug into said we'll be dry Friday night, but the chance for a few flakes. And then Saturday morning, starting to spit a little bit of light snow into the afternoon, becomes more widespread. I think the model will likely fill in. That little dry slot over us likely won't be there. I expect most of us will start to snow Saturday afternoon, evening. And then it looks like potentially all night Saturday night, Snow's falling. That's midnight Saturday night. That's a snowy map. Sunrise Sunday morning, snowy map. All snow through the Outer Banks, the Crystal Coast, and I-95. And then everything pulls away by midday Sunday. That's the latest timing and track on the storm. That track is the optimal, almost the optimal snow track. If it were to come in tighter on the coast, we'd change over to rain and a mix further away. The precip would stay offshore. And so it's that sweet spot for snow, the way it looks right now. And obviously that cold air supporting snow on this one. It'll still be very cold next week. And that means we may have some difficult travel days ahead of us into the first half of next week. All right, this is kind of what we're thinking right now as far as potential snowfall. Notice on my banner, numbers will shift. When we get to Saturday morning, just before the snow starts falling, we'll have numbers that are a little bit different than what you see in all likelihood. Hopefully they're close to what we're showing you now. But with new data coming in and little shifts and jogs, look for shifts. Some of the data says I'm not high enough with those totals to the coast. A couple of models say we might be lower than this. So we're kind of averaging a bit, looking at past storms to come up with that 4 inches inland, west of Highway 17 generally. And then we get into the higher totals through the sounds, the beaches, the coastal counties, all of Beaufort County in that maybe 6-inch total. Same thing for Hyde and Dare counties as well. And again, those numbers could trend upward. This is an atypical snow map. Usually the higher totals are inland, the lower ones on the coast. Cold storm with snow for everybody, with the heavier precip on the coast, thus the higher snow totals. Here's a breakdown again for our first alert weather day, Saturday morning through midday Sunday. That's the precipitation window generally. Snow for almost everybody with some mixing on the Outer Banks probably. We've got coast on there, maybe a bit on the Crystal Coast. And then we talked about the snow totals. We may have hazardous driving conditions by sunrise Saturday. I think it'll be later in the day, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we're good until 4 o'clock. If it arrives a little earlier, you're going to want to have everything buttoned up by Friday evening, just in case you get up Saturday and the snow's already starting and the roads will quickly get bad. It's going to be so cold, nothing's going to melt. So it won't take much before the roads get slick on Saturday, whenever it starts. All right, those winds 30, 40 miles an hour, wind chill value 0 to 15. If not colder than that, some of the inland areas will likely have cold weather warnings along with the winter weather warnings, flood warnings potentially on the coast for the wind-driven waters. A lot of different aspects we're going to be watching. And I think for all of us, the dangerously cold temps are one of the biggies with those negative wind chills possible early Sunday morning when the sun comes up. Right now it's quiet out there. SatRad is clear. Air temps generally in the low 20s. Greenville's down to 19. That was a 28 about 3 hours ago. That's that push of very cold air moving in, thus the cold weather advisory through 10 a.m. this morning. That's pretty good breeze out there. Let's check the wind chills. 11, Elizabeth City. 13, Williamston. 16, Washington. It's about 15 on the wind chill right now. Again, subtract 5 to 10 off the air temp for your feels like numbers as we go through the day. Afternoon highs, that's it. Mid-30s later today. That's 20 degrees below normal. I didn't get a chance to check record low maximums, coldest highs recorded on this date. That's probably not far off. I would say low to mid-30s. You're getting into record territory on the coldest highs for the afternoon, if that makes sense. Watch the wind out of the northwest at about 10. We go calm tonight. Still a north wind tomorrow. A little less wind tomorrow. Makes it a little more dealable, I would say, tomorrow afternoon. Enough wind to keep the wind chills 5 under the air temp, though. There's that wind chill tracker. The 13 or so this morning. Swapped that to a 31 this afternoon. Never feels like we get above freezing. Tomorrow's going to be a struggle to get out of the low 30s as well. Keep all that heavy winter gear handy as we go through the next 6-7 days. It just doesn't end. So far, the storm not on the map. There it is. That low pressure back over Texas, marching eastward. A weak storm until it gets off the east coast. This happens frequently. Low pressure hits the relatively warmer Gulf Stream waters, fuels the storm, and it cranks up off the coast. Sometimes it bombs, we call it a meteorological term, when you get rapid pressure falls over a short period of time. a rapidly intensifying storm. Nor'easter type low with a northeast wind coming in to the cold air, drawing all that moisture off the Atlantic and bringing the snows in. I showed you that snow field as we get into Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then adios Sunday. By the time we hit Monday, it's just a cold map. And again, if that snow does indeed verify, which it probably will, there's going to be a lot of slick, icy roads, probably all day Monday, Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday afternoon, I think we'll start getting better to some degree. Look at that cold air. Up in the Great Plains, the upper Midwest, 10 to 20 degrees below zero on the wind chill. These are wind chill values. You can see into the afternoon, we've got our wind chills near 30, and then tumbling back towards the teens tomorrow morning. Bitter cold maps, not just us, even Florida. That cold air spilling all the way down into Florida, folks. In fact, I just saw a report they might get some snowflakes, northern Florida, believe it or not, as we get into the weekend. Rare event. One more look at the impacts. No, that's the wrong one. Let's jump past that. Get to that 8-day forecast. 30s today, tomorrow. Another drop to the 20s with the snow, the wind this weekend. I keep saying that like it's an absolute. This is highly likely. It's not 100% yet, but that storm, all the models are in agreement, the timing, the location, so it helps me do my job to have a high degree of confidence on how things are going to unfold. 80 to 100 to 70% chance of primarily snow through the weekend, Saturday night, Sunday. And again, everything's out of here precip-wise by the time we hit sunset Sunday, but the cold air just does not want to leave. Trying to get you to 40 maybe on Wednesday. Very cold nights early next week with a lot of slick roads. As long as that snow gets in here, and again, it probably will. So this may be a several-day event. With the wind blowing, there's going to be drifting. It's going to be a very dry snow.
Okay,
dry, light snow. And that means you get bigger accumulations. Dry snow doesn't get compacted and doesn't compress. So the same amount of snow when it's dry versus heavy and wet equals higher snow totals.
Okay.
And it blows around. Drifting, there could be drifts potentially well over a foot in some areas where that wind howls along. And then sometimes you'll have areas where the grass never gets covered, where the wind keeps hitting it and blowing the snow downwind. So a lot of things to watch into the weekend. Could be a big headache for a lot of folks.
And talking about that wind too, I know you just mentioned that precipitation is likely to fall out of here by Sunday evening. Is that wind going to persist? Is that still going to be here as the snow heads out?
It'll start coming down Sunday night.
Okay.
By the time we get into Monday, we should be back towards 15 on the winds.
Okay.
Sunday, that wind will be howling into the afternoon. This storm is really going to crank up off the coast on Sunday. That wind field, that pressure gradient will bring a howling wind in here Sunday. We'll be gusting 40 at times. Mentioned on the morning show that possibility for blizzard conditions. If the winds are gusting over 35 for several hours in a row and you have falling or blowing snow out there, you're getting into that criteria for a blizzard warning. And I'm not saying we're going to have a blizzard warning here, but we'll be close potentially to that kind of criteria here as we get into Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Rare occurrence here.
Crazy to think having North Carolina and possible blizzard in the same sentence.
Yeah. And we've had it once or twice before. I got to look back when that happened. But once in a while, everything comes together to get there. And this weekend will be one of those possible blizzard warning weekends. It's probably not going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Weather Service says we need to do this if everything continues to look the way it is now.
Okay, got it. Well, you'll keep an eye on it for us, Jim. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us this morning. Just want to say hello and good morning to all of our friends over on Facebook. Looks like a lot of people are freezing, and I can agree. Bracing for impact, Bernice. Yep. We got to do that this weekend. Get your milk and bread out again. Go to the grocery stores.
Yeah, this is a grocery store storm. Legitimate bread and milk storm. A lot of times I say don't run out.
Right.
This one you do.
This one, okay. And George, good morning to you, and Krista, good morning to you as well. We'll be back again at 8 a.m. Jim's going to have another detailed forecast on what's going on this weekend. So hope you can join us then, but otherwise have a great Thursday.
Right.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Toyota of Goldsboro.